Welcome to the Dairy News and Views podcast, a production of the Iowa State University Extension and Outreach Dairy Team. Our podcast covers current educational, research, and industry tools available for your operation to manage healthy cows and calves while producing the highest quality dairy products. Thanks for joining us today on Dairy News and Views from the ISU Dairy Team. I'm Jen Bentley, Northeast Iowa Dairy Field Specialist, and I'm here today with our Extension Dairy Team. And I think I'm just going to let everybody introduce themselves. So Gail, why don't you kick it off?
Hi, everybody. I'm Gail Carpenter. I'm the State Dairy Specialist located in Ames, Iowa.
Larry Tranel, Dairy Field Specialist, Northeast and Southeast Iowa.
Fred Hall, Dairy Specialist in Western Iowa.
And I'm Philip Jardin. I'm one of the Dairy Extension Veterinarians office here in Ames.
And I'm Jan Shear. I'm one of the Dairy Extension veterinarians here at Iowa State University as well, here on campus.
Well, thanks for everybody joining us here this morning. And we have a lot of events coming up here in the next month that we wanted to get out to our listeners. And maybe some of these events will be able to fit in your calendar as we talk about the upcoming events. We have our ag lenders seminar going on the end of October, which Larry and Fred, you're going to be talking about. And we have our dairy industry double header. That's a mouthful, coming up on November 1st and 2nd. So we're going to give some details about that. So I think we'll start out with the ag lender seminar because that's coming up first, the end of October. And Fred and Larry, why don't you give us more details on what that all entails?
Okay, so the Tri-State Ag Lenders Seminar has been going on for something like 38 years. Typically get anywhere from 170, maybe up to 200 agricultural lenders that come from a tri-state area of Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. Then this year, and Fred's is the next day, he'll talk about that. But this year we're going to kind of focus on the ag markets like we typically do with dairy and beef, the livestock, and also some of the crop commodities. In addition, we're trying to work with some of the machinery type things about the market values of machinery, the right to repair, and a few topics such as that. And then mine's a little bit different this year, where I'm actually going to talk a little bit about the goat market and some of the cost of production of dairy goat herds, in addition to maybe a model farm on some grass-fed dairy type stuff. So that's kind of the agenda that we have for October 29th. So Fred, what do you got?
Well, I'm really excited that there on the 30th, we're going to really have, like you said, the focus on the right to repair legislation. We've got Jennifer Harrington coming in and talking about that. That's a topic that everybody has questions and concerns about. And then the used machinery market is really, up until 2 months ago, it was hotter than a $2 pistol. You couldn't bring anything to the marketplace that didn't sell well. And the last couple of auctions, boy, they've slowed down a bunch. And we've got Joe Everett from Joel's Tractors, one of the largest used equipment auction in the upper Midwest, going to talk about what he sees in that market environment. We're, like Larry says, we each do something a little different sometimes. And this year, since I came back to Iowa and started the Siouxland Ag Lenders, we've had a few women attend. But the last 3 years, man, they have just become double digit, and they are fantastic participants. And one of the things that I always had from the evaluations was we need more information for the women in ag lending. So this year I've got Val Weiss. She's a commercial lending officer with Farm Credit Services, and she's going to present a little bit about how she got into it and what she sees the difference between when she walks into the room versus her male counterparts. So we're kind of excited. I think this is really an outstanding venue. Don't you think, Larry?
So Leonard Polzin with the University of Wisconsin is going to talk with us about the dairy markets. Joseph Lensing, one of our own farm management agents, is going to kind of do some of the crop, commodity, livestock things. So yeah, no doubt it's going to be a well-rounded area of topics for the lenders, and yeah, so they're always pretty interested in it. So.
You know, every time I think I've heard all the Fredisms, he drops another one. I don't think I've heard him say hotter than a $2 pistol before, but there we go. You heard it here first, folks.
He didn't sing it though.
True, true.
And I've heard it several times. I'm still trying to process what the $2 pistol looks like. But,
Well, it's hot. That's what we know.
So Larry, this has been going on, yours has been going on for 30 plus years, and Fred started his 5 years ago, right? 4 or 5 years
Actually,
ago?
8 years ago.
Oh, 8 years ago. Okay.
Yep.
But so what makes it unique? I mean, people coming back, and what are some of the takeaways these ag lenders are getting that, they're taking the information away and using it with their clients?
Yeah, it's a lot of risk protection type stuff, I guess, over the years. I mean, that's kind of what the basis of it always been, is just kind of try to take a look at what's happening in the next year. What do they need to be worried about? What some things that might be optimistic in the markets, because, they're dealing with a lot of their portfolios, that there's a lot of risk on some of those portfolios. And if prices take a downturn, they kind of need to be prepared what they're going to try to do to try to maybe get those cash flows done a little bit earlier, to see what they're going to do if they maybe can't make ends meet. So there's just, I think, risk protection, risk management is just a big piece of this, and a lot of it has to deal with the land markets. And each and every year, the land markets and the commodity markets, I think, are just a big topic. But for people to hear the forecast of what the milk price might be or what the corn price might be come a year from now, I think that's always kind of important for them to work with. And the reason I kind of put something on with the dairy goats is because I've worked with a few projects around the country with dairy goats. And one of the things that come up as top of the list is that they have a hard time working with their lenders on trying to get financing to start up a dairy goat herd. We hear that with the grass-based dairy herds as well. And so it's just something that people aren't familiar with. And so we thought we'd put this in front of the ag lenders to just kind of let them know that, yeah, there are some budgets that are actually possible to make a profit and maybe make a living and pay back a debt from it.
Gail, one of the things that I think makes this series really well placed is when we do it. If you are working with an ag lender, you know that come December, they're going to be having their client meetings, probably December, January, February. So we've got this position that they're getting this really current information right before they're going to start bringing the producers in and talking about their financial health and operating loans and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Fred, jokingly, when you started saying about the timing of it, I always thought it was right before, because it's deer season, just right before that.
Well, that's bad timing, Larry, because you want to be out in your stand, not in your ag lenders. But it is the right time of year for ag lenders, so we know that you're going to give up a day of deer hunting to be there, because it's that important.
The other thing that we do that I think brings some of the folks at least to our news releases is we do an evaluation for these programs. And for the past 5 years, we've asked trackable questions where we're able to say, here is a trend line that is developed or is developing. And it's everything from, how many at-risk loans to, what is your process for evaluating operating loans. It's really an interesting document when you put all those responses together. And then, of course, we send it out to the lenders who attend.
So we do have a web page set up for the ag lenders that has the agenda for both locations and registration information. So I'll include that in our show notes here today in case anybody's interested in learning more about that. And I know, Fred, we're going to be updating that web page post seminar as well with some of the presentations, so people can go back and review that as well. So as we conclude Ag Lender Seminar, I think we'll move into the double dairy industry. I get it wrong every time, dairy industry doubleheader. So,
Dairy
Kayla,
industry doubleheader.
yes. Why don't you kick it off with that?
So the end of that week, November 1st and 2nd, we're really excited to invite folks down to Ames and Ankeny, down here in central Iowa. We are going to have 2 events. So Friday afternoon, we're going to be doing some professional development, and then on Saturday, we're going to be hosting a tailgate with the Dairy Science Club here at Iowa State. So instead of having their alumni reunion up at World Dairy Expo this year, they decided to combine forces with us. And we're excited to invite folks here to Ames for homecoming. We'll be playing Texas Tech. We have a tent on Tent Row. Yes. No, the podcast folks can't hear, but can't hear Fred doing his little guns up thing for Texas Tech. And maybe we should cut that because Iowa State does pay your bills now, Fred.
That's true. That's true.
Friendly reminder. But no, we're really excited to have alumni of Iowa State and friends of the Iowa dairy industry, whether you're dairy producers or consultants or allied industry, or really just like dairy. We're excited to have you and just celebrate the dairy industry in Iowa. We do not know what time that game is going to be yet as of this recording. So anybody who wants to see more information and keep up to date on what we're doing that weekend, you should visit our website. It's extension.iastate.edu/dairy team. And then if you go to that website, you'll see we have some quick links, and one of the quick links is the dairy industry doubleheader. So click on that. We'll have all the information about Friday and Saturday events. Philip, do you want to talk about what we're doing on Friday?
I'd be glad to, yes. So we're pretty excited to have a program there we're calling the Professional Development for Iowa Dairy Industry Consultants. We've picked topics that are kind of hot topics right now in the industry. One is Dr. Allison Vanderplatz here at Iowa State is going to be talking about her experiences with automatic calf feeding equipment. And there's a big push for those right now. There's more and more people using them, but they come with some issues. And she's going to talk about her experiences and maybe how consultants, both nutritionists and veterinarians, can be helping their clients that have that kind of equipment or considering that kind of equipment. And then we're going to talk about high-path avian influenza in dairy cattle, which of course has been a bit hot topic this year, unfortunately. Allison's going to talk about that too. And she had to be one of the people that's actually been on some of these dairies, collecting some of the samples, doing research. She's going to just give us a little update and what it looks like. And then Grant Duell, who's my counterpart on the beef side, got some funding to put together a biosecurity trailer a few years ago. And now all of a sudden that's kind of a more important thing for the dairy industry to be thinking about. So it's going to give us a chance to actually see how biosecurity is done on more on the poultry and the swine side, but some of the things you might consider doing on a dairy too. So that's going to be on Friday afternoon. We're going to start at 1:30. Our thought there at the start time was that people could working out in the state could work early in the morning and still have chance to get to Ames to do that. And it's going to go until about 5 o'clock.
We'll be having a social after the professional development on Friday evening at McGee's Irish Pub and Eatery there in Ankeny. So if you're in town for either the professional development or the tailgate, you're welcome to join us. Elanco Animal Health and Iowa State Dairy Association are both helping to sponsor that. So we're excited to be having that. And the good news is it's walking distance from the hotel blocks that we have there in Ankeny too. So it's pretty easy for folks to be able to get to. And again, if you want more information about the hotels or about how to register, about the program, about anything that's going on that weekend, go to extension.iastate.edu/dairy team and click on the link for Dairy Industry Doubleheader.
Philip, where is this program for the consultants going to be held?
It's actually at the Iowa Medical Association building. It's in Ankeny, so not too far away from all the other things that's happening here. They're both close to the hotel block and the happy hour there on Friday night. It's at 1605 North Ankeny Boulevard, Suite 100. So it's real close to the Earl May there, kind of the north part of Ankeny, right off 69. Should make a point here too that We have got this approved for 3 hours of CE through the Iowa Board of Veterinary Medicine, and also 3 hours of CE through ARPAS. So both nutritionists and veterinarians can get their CE at this meeting.
I know, Gail, you have some Facebook events going on our Facebook page to kind of get the discussion going and get people kind of seeing who's going. It looks like we have some alumni already registered or saying that they're going. And I know you put on there this morning, what year did you graduate as a dairy science alumni? So Fred, I know you're dairy science alumni. What year did you graduate?
Way back in history there.
That's a quiz question.
82.
Okay. All right.
Jen, now you have to say when you graduated
Yep.
too.
Right. 2002.
Yeah, so for folks that want to check out those events and kind of see some of that discussion, you can go to the Dairy Extension team at Iowa State University, our Facebook page, and the Iowa Dairy Industry Tailgate and Professional Development for Iowa Dairy Consultants are both events on that Facebook page that you can go follow, and let us know if you're interested in joining, and feel free to join that discussion.
Can I put a shameless plug in for our dairy webinars?
Always.
All right. As most dairymen and processors are aware, the federal milk market orders are seeing some suggested changes, and producers are being asked to vote on what was presented. So on the 16th, that's Wednesday, October 16th at 12 noon, we are going to have a webinar that'll focus on those changes and what the potential effect will be to producers. We've got Dr. Chuck Nicholson from University of Wisconsin-Madison, and Leonard Polzin, also from University of Wisconsin-Madison, who are going to really get in depth on potential changes that producers will see. So we invite everybody to get registered for that.
Well, I think we'll wrap up here, and I want to thank everybody for being on the podcast here this morning. And I hope to see a lot of our listeners out at our upcoming events. We got a lot going on, and we hope our listeners will join us. Feel free to reach out to us, either email or phone, if you have questions on any of the upcoming events, and we'll include those in our show notes. So thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to visiting with you on the next Dairy News and Views from ISU. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. For the full non-discrimination statement or combination inquiries, go to www.extension.iastate.edu/diversity/EXT.